Hello, boys and girls of YouTube. Alright, here we are. That darn shadow again. Here we are, we're going to put the back box on. Basically, it's 4 bolts that hold it in. Hopefully you can kind of maybe at least see one. There you go. There's one there. One on the other side. One back there. And one over there. Basically, those 4 bolts hold the whole thing, and this hole is to run the wires through to connect to the back box so you can score and the lights and all that good stuff. Well, so there's the back box, basically turned into a workbench. We're going to clean all that stuff off. Now the back box is somewhat a little bit on the heavy side, so I'm going to let's go around here. Excuse the camera moving. I'm going to pull out the glass. It's this way it doesn't don't break it. So in this video we're gonna go clean all the switches and everything else back there. So alright, let me go put the back box on and we'll go from there. See you in a bit. Alright, so as you can kind of plainly see, the back box is on. It's a little heavy. Wasn't too bad. Again, something one person can definitely do. Scroll around to the back so you can get a good look at that. And again, whole bunch of switches and coils and stepper motors. So now when I got this, it did not have, well, let me rephrase that. It did have a back, but it was a pieced together wood back that wasn't worth even taking with me. So these are actually supposed to have a metal back. You can get them. They're a little tough to get. Not overly pricey, but for what it is, I think I'm just going to put a piece of plywood back here and call it a day. People never see it. You just need to cover up the back so this way nothing gets in there. Actually, as you can see, maybe you can't, but the bottom is actually very dusty. If this actually had the original back on it, believe it or not, this actually does stay pretty clean. Clearly the back box has probably been off for, the back cover for the box has been off for a pretty long time. It was probably stored that way. But back here, you basically will have the player unit. So that's a stepper motor for the player unit. I forget what this is. Normally there's a sticker somewhere on here. I think I saw it actually when I was cleaning up the play box. So if I do have it, I'll put it back on there. This is your reel for your credits. Then obviously all your scoring reels. Now, interesting fact, I don't know if you can see this, but this one, let me go to the front here. Excuse me. All right, now use this one example. See, this is a dummy reel. You can only score 10 points on this. On many machines, some older machines you actually can score a single point, but usually they still only had like up to like 1,000. Technically, what happens when you're only scoring tens at a time? Clearly, this is always going to be on 0. That's why they cut the 9. They were so cheap, not even put like all the 1 or 9. They just put half because that's all you see through the little window when you're looking at the score, So they didn't even bother putting the rest of it on, just what you can see. So really it starts, 10, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. So and this will always stay on 0. So why put a reel in when you don't have to? because it'll never spin. But that's what this looks like. Oh, and an interesting thing too here. See how, oh, maybe you can't see. Let me get a little closer one here. That. See how this is kind of flat? The bulb just kind of sticks in there. And if you can see on these, how it's actually recessed a little bit. What these are supposed to be are flashing lights. Now, back in the day, the bulb for a flashing light was a little bigger because the filament inside, it actually had the connection to have one side of the power. And when that filament heats up, it actually would move, disconnect, then when it cools down, it would connect again. So these would blink. And usually that's on the old games, that's where the name of the game would be. And to get your attention, they made those blink. Unfortunately, on this game, they just put regular bulbs in. Those blinky bulbs are actually getting harder to find. I think they stopped making them. So if you do find them, they are a little on the expensive side. Hopefully somebody will start making them again once they realize, you know, there's still a market there for them. Probably not, you know, a ton, but there is a market. You can get LED lights that will blink. Now, bad with LED lights that blink. Usually they have the same timing, so everything will blink at once. I read somewhere that they do have ones that'll stagger. I haven't really looked into those yet. If I don't go for the original style, I will look more into that because I definitely would like that to blink. And if you didn't hear me mention before, I kind of like the originality of things a little bit. So maybe I'll splurge and get those bulbs. I mean, normally they're only supposed to be like 50 some bulbs back in the day. Like back in the day a few years ago, like 5-6 years ago. Now I think you're spending $10 a piece because they're harder to get. So we'll see how that goes. All right, well, like the inner box, we're gonna just clean up all here. Again, you know, you'll have your coils, relays, switches, whatever you want to call these here, whole things. But you have a good amount of switches, and basically, from what I understand, and they're not tagged, it's supposed to be like tens, thousands, 10,000s? I mean, 10 hundreds, thousands. Well, there's also 2 coils on here that's supposed to reset everything too. Definitely gonna have to look at the schematic a little bit and see what goes on here. But, you know, you're gonna clean. Oh, here's something I just noticed. Looks like somebody, maybe you can't see, but it looks like somebody was actually trying to clean this up, because it looks like they did put some grease on this, so something's up. I don't see anything right away, but something's up. That's interesting. And again, back here you have a whole bunch more Jones plugs. Looks like these are scoring settings. You have the card here to tell you the position and what scores for what. I'll get more into that a little later. Let's see, there should be one here for like free play or a bonus play or something. Yeah, here we go. Extra ball or replay. So, you know, you could have had a setting to change that. For home use, everybody basically does extra ball because you're already getting, you know, replay for free anyway. So look at that. But this is the first time I'm taking a really good look back here. It's a little dirtier than I expected, but it is what it is. So again, you know, we're just going to be cleaning and see what happens. Oh, also, just as a note, when you clean these wheels, try not to use anything liquidy. I hear sometimes these numbers can actually rub off. At a quick glance, it looks like all the ones I have seem to be good. Again, dusty. but good. Meaning the numbers are still there, they're not rubbed off. That one's definitely a little dirty, but yeah, definitely don't try to put any cleaning solution on them, because you could take the numbers right off. I'm pretty sure you can probably get a sticker and put them back on, but if they're all there in good shape, you know, why re-sticker everything if you don't have to? My understanding is that obviously they're yellowed over time. You know, the reels are supposed to be pretty much white. You know, just dirt and time probably yellowed them a little bit, but I don't know. I mean, the dust seems to come off pretty easily, so, you know, fiber cloth and take them off. Yeah, I mean, it's just dusty, not so bad. Clean it up. All right, so probably gonna start again with the switches, and then move over to the Jones plugs, and then probably look at the stepper reels, and then probably the scoring reels. Here, those are a little bit of a pain, but you know, they got switches, and again, you've got the contacts you got to clean up. I mean, it looks like it's all intact. So, like I said, this was a working game. You know, it just stopped working. We're trying to work through cleaning it, and that's sometimes how you find a couple things. Did notice a few things. You know, switches a little misaligned, but not many. You know, the one coil that's missing, the one wire that needs to be soldered. If that 5 cent 5 cent coil, I forgot what they physically call it, but basically, since this is a game that's, you know, set up free play, hopefully counting coins are not going to be a problem. But who knows? We might have to get back to it, like I mentioned in my previous video. But sorry, I'm staying in one place. I'm looking as I'm showing you guys and gals. So if I held the camera a little bit still or shaking, because I was kind of looking at the back box here just to see if I see anything glaring as an issue. Nothing really, but, you know, I haven't dived into it. Go from there. All right, folks, let me get to tackling cleaning this. Again, if I see anything interesting, you know, to show you, I definitely will. So, till then. All right. Well, I mentioned that if I find anything interesting, I'll kind of show you. So, not a lot other than I was earlier talking about the scoring, and I did notice that this pin wasn't connected. It was tucked in somewhere, so I'll actually have to read up on this to see how you actually set the scoring. Might just be might be set up right, just you know, they didn't use that pin. We'll figure that out. But another thing I do want to show you is, you know, just keep an eye on things like this. Just a loose wire, it was sitting up when I found the pin. I saw this. Now, what is kind of interesting is, if you can see it, it doesn't have any end sticking out. Either broke off exactly right, or was never meant to be connected. Could be neither. Who knows? Could be something else. We'll figure that out. But again, it's hard to tell, especially when the back isn't covered for a long time, what color this wire actually is. I can probably trace it back and maybe find a cleaner spot just to see, and then look into the schematic to see what this is actually for. It actually probably is for something. Might just be ground. There's a few grounds up there, or power for lights, I should say. I don't know. We'll figure it out. That's part of this adventure, figuring this whole thing out. I mean, I have a rough idea what's in all these things just from watching videos and reading a few better websites that I will definitely include in the description for this video, because that's kind of what this whole thing is about also, just to see if I can use available information out there. Really no first-hand experience other than playing a game. If I can put this thing back together. Now, it wasn't really that far apart or anything, but again, just using YouTube for reference, some website that YouTube video suggests, get a halfway decent understanding of these things and see if I get one up and running. Oh yeah, I almost forgot about this part. I was talking about this earlier. This is for the counter for the replay. In other words, when you're playing a pinball, game ends and they come up with a matching score. So that's what this is for. It'll continually cycle through numbers, I think from 10 to 90. And again, if you have the score of the match, that's what the pop usually winds up being. But I found another interesting piece. The coil's not wired in. I found the 2 wires. I'm pretty sure it goes to that coil. Now, again, I don't think it's necessary to have it connected to play a game, but again, one of the satisfying things when you're playing pinball and it ends and you're hoping for that free game, you want a match, and then you hear the big pop and you won something. And to me that's pinball. So I would like to probably get this thing going with that functioning properly. So I'll definitely need to make sure that those wires don't need to go on there in a specific way. It seems like this moves pretty good. I was showing you earlier where somebody played around with it and greased the heck out of it on this side. Now that grease is a little sticky. I'm not sure if it's the right grease or not. And it looks like, I don't know, I might just clean it off and start fresh. This way I know what it is, because it definitely was a little stickier when I touched it than I thought it should be. But not getting focus. Yeah, it was focused okay, good enough anyway. But yeah, so that's the 3 things I found so far. Then like these Jones plugs, they're a little loose, so you get some screws and screw that back in. Guess somebody must have stole something at some point. This one looks like some of them only had 1 screw in, and some of them looks like they might have had 2. But I got some screws, so I'll put them in. So that's where it's at. Hopefully you were able to see some of that. I did also play around with the player unit. It definitely sticks. I'm definitely going to have to take that one apart. So when I take that apart, I will show you that apart, so we can kind of see. Because it definitely was stiff when I was trying to return back to home after trying to reset it. So definitely need to look at that. Was there anything else interesting on this? Oh yeah, not that it was a big deal, but it's missing the screw to hold this part down, so I got to get that. But that's not a big deal. And that's it. All right, so let me go back to work and start cleaning. I did clean the switches already, so now it's going to be the Jones plugs, and once I have those all cleaned up, the ones that are in the playfield box, those I'll bring back up here and connect them up. Here's 3 of them. And generally they're just different amounts of pins. That's how you know which one goes to what one. And you're not necessarily labeled, but the wiring diagram definitely can show you where they go for a fact. But generally they're not the same amount of numbers where you can confuse them. So it's usually pretty easy to figure that out. All right. When I get done, I'll turn it back on. Talk to you then. All right. Well, found something interesting. Basically, this is actually supposed to be attached to a I forget what it's called, but basically it's the shaft that comes in and out. It gets magnetized or demagnetized, and it looks like, you're not gonna be able to get a great picture, but yeah, looks like it's broke off inside it. So I'm pretty sure this coil is probably seen better days and needs replacing. So let's make that assumption, and yeah, go with that. So I think you can get that part, but I haven't looked for that one yet. So all right, saga continues. All right, just to confirm, it's definitely broke. Like I said, I'm not sure if you can get the part, but we're gonna find out. I'll let you know. Talk to you then. All right. Just an update. I was able to order this piece. From what I understand, it's called a plunger, and if you can see, there's a hole in it, and that requires a pin to hold it on that plastic piece. Put the plastic back, so I don't know if I can show it to you, but I'll point it out when I put it together. I'll show you that. So excuse the walking, but just to let you know, cleaning these reels are a pain in the neck. Basically, I've got this side done. This side I'm taking a break. I'm actually moving on to this piece, which is the player unit. I did notice this was a little sticky trying to when you're trying to move it, so I'm going to take it all apart. I already started doing some of it. The spring took off. It's wound up 3 times and it hooks to here, so unraveled it, whatever you want to call it. I also did get a spring set for this. If you recall, I was talking, I had 4 springs. I didn't know where the 4th one was. I knew this, and this. I forgot about that one. So that's the 4th spring. So it comes in a kit. It's like $8. So I actually ordered a couple just in case. I definitely know I need one in the playing box here, because this one shadow. All right, let's see if I can rectify the shadow. And again, I apologize. Get the light on the subject here. You can see on that back one, it's missing one spring. See, it's got 1, 2, 3, and it's missing that 4th one that goes across. So definitely need a kit for that. This one seems okay over here. Everything worked well. So when I get the spring for that, I'm actually going to take that apart, because I found out through one of the very nice viewers, he kind of detailed a couple things in my video, and one of them was that this is not necessarily a coin count. It's a player count for when you're adding coins, something along those lines. He did leave a detailed description a detailed comment on the video, so definitely he had some good information. So thank you very much to the person that did that, and I apologize, I don't remember your name, but it's there. So thank him for me, everybody. So yeah, we're gonna move on to taking this apart, cleaning it, and go from there. So let me do that, and I'll get back to you again. If I see anything weird, I'll definitely turn the camera back on and show you. All right, till then. All right, here we are, finally finished with cleaning and checking everything out in the back box. I think I mentioned it already, but I was able to get the replacement part for the piece that broke that I showed you guys. And the only other thing I realized I think I need another coil. This one right here looked bad. So I'll have to order that. But once I finish the next step, which is really the playfield, I'll connect everything back up, turn it on, and do all 4 players and see if this one actually works or doesn't. Like I had mentioned before, the parts are pretty much available. I wasn't sure about that one piece that broke, but luckily that is still available. So yeah, so finished with this. The next video will be highlighting the playfield, which is interesting to say the least. And I'll tell you why when I get to it. All right, so moving on. Hope you're enjoying watching some of these videos. Well, the 2-3 videos I have. But like I said previously, hey, this is my first pinball machine. Just going over what I found on the internet to be helpful with videos and some websites to help get this thing back up and running. So yeah, that's where I'm at. So till the next time.